Hey!
John, how's it going?
Good, mate. Good to see you.
Yeah, you too.
Wow.
Welcome to our workshop here at Wolf 4x4 in North Lakes.
It's swish. Man, what a setup. This is awesome.
Yeah, no, really
Fantastic.
good.
And I love these. Do you like these? Have you tried them?
These are hands down the best tyre I've ever driven on.
Yeah.
I can't speak highly enough about them. For a mud tyre, it's madness.
I have not had a decent go in the mud. Driven them on wet tar, which as you know is a really good recommendation. Very impressed. The thing for us is going to be to see how far they go.
Yeah.
And that thing, we'll test it out.
Exactly.
Well and truly.
That's the plan.
Righto. Now, I'm certainly not exchanging the Federals for BFGs because of tyre wear. These tyres, we estimate, because it's a little hard with that speedo on Milo 2, somewhere between 24,000 Ks. And in that time, out of the 13.5 mils of available tread, we're down to 11. So that's only 2 and a fraction mils of tyre wear in 24,000 Ks. Now, normally a tyre will wear quicker at first and then slow down, as you know that. It gets harder and the knobs are getting smaller, so they're not moving as much. So basically you could estimate that these tyres will still have legal tread on them probably well over the 70, 80,000 Ks. Now, they are hard riding. They're not that good in the wet. They prove to be totally puncture proof, certainly in the Ks we've done, and some of those were in some nasty places. There's no real splits. I think I found one knob that's got just the beginnings of a little fracture from a rock or something. So these tyres have done really well, and especially when you consider that retail, the BFGs are probably going to be twice as much. But I've driven on the BFGs in the rain on tar roads. They are possibly one of the most secure road tyres in a mud pattern that I've ever used. You can tell a lot about tyres just by looking at them. And one of the funny things here, straight away, if you just look at this, the Federal and the 3, you would straight away think that the Fed has got a much deeper tread pattern. But look at this, 13.5. Tad over 14. And that's because the gaps are a whole lot bigger here, so they make the blocks look bigger. So there's actually more rubber on this tyre straight away. And when you start measuring it this way, our minimum width on our smallest blocks is about 185, and then the maximum is about 210. Come over here, and we've got 200 as a minimum and 220 as a maximum. So there's a lot more rubber on the road. And then, let's just look at the way this functions as a tyre. These big gaps, the mudslingers here, BFG calls them mud-phobic ribs or something, but still mudslingers. They're a lot more pronounced, a lot thicker, a lot bigger. They're going to do a lot more. If that sort of technology is going to work at all, it's going to work better when you've got more of it. And then we've got the sipes themselves. The sipes are the gaps here. You can tell straight away, this has got slices, not much in the way of slices. There's not a lot of siping going on there. Over here, look at this. We've got this sort of crisscross pattern, deep sipes, all the way through to the base, and there's nothing left to chance there. There's every pattern you can think of. It's really quite amazing. Now, just for a quick comparo, this is a 2. Is this a 2? Yeah, it is. Yeah, it's a KM2. And so we've got a KM2 and a KM3, and a lot of people were exceptionally happy with the KM2 for a whole lot of good reasons. When you see them right next to each other, you can see where some of the improvements are anyway. If you look at our siping here, it's running at 90 degrees. Here, there are patterns. You can see the patterns. So they've changed the sipes completely. They've also replaced these deep cutaways with just little notches. So I would assume that's because traction's not so much an issue, and this will help maintain the integrity of the blocks more. So potentially longer lasting, which is not bad at all, because people who've used them reckon they get, pretty terrific mileages. The difference we can't see is the difference in compound. It is essentially similar to the old compound, but they've brought in some of the technology they use in their Baja racing tyres. So one of the reasons why they're expensive is because the compound is really, you know, first rate. It's a first rate compound. These are the dynamics, and some of the cheap ones from China, they drill the holes first and then they weld the centre in.
Yep.
I mean, these are fully machined afterwards once they're constructed, which is, it's a more expensive process obviously, but.
Yeah. And even then you look at the pricing of, say, a dynamic steel wheel versus something that comes out of China.
So it's only 10 or 15 bucks.
To begin with anyway, so why would you not spend the extra on something
Yeah,
that you know is going to be quality?
I know, it's amazing. Hey, here's a little tip for you. I mean, it's pretty obvious this is a good workshop, but have a look at this. Look, anywhere that's going to stick Penrite in your car is a good place to go, isn't it? Hey? Okay, so look at that. Looks a lot more civilised, doesn't it? But I think that's going to prove to be a really good thing. The only way to find out is to take it and test it. So little quick run down through the hills to the high country. No doubt it'll rain in Canberra, it always does when it's not full of hot air. And then when we get down to the high country, who knows? If it's like last year, we might find some mud. Right, now we've set the pressures, or Aidan set the pressures for me at 38 PSI. That's 38 cold. You know you've got the right pressure in your tyre. When hot, it'll go up 4 pounds, okay? Give or take half a pound. So if you run it too low, if you're running 30 PSI, they'll get hot. They'll probably go to 36, 37. And similarly, if you've got too much air in there, you know, you don't get quite the difference. So I will check these when they're nice and hot, when they've done a few hundred Ks, and yeah, they should be in the 42 bracket, and then I'll adjust from there accordingly. But I'm thinking 38 for these tyres, this truck, this weight, it's probably about right. And the guys here at Wolf agreed with me, and they know what they're doing, so I think we're doing well. Milo 2, brought to you by the best names in the business and a whole bunch of my mates helping out.